Good evening, Inspire Gang. Welcome back to the Inspire channel. And tonight I am with a very special guest. This is Antwan Johnson. I am very proud of this young man. He has done such an amazing job of turning his life around. And I wanted to share that with you guys tonight. And I'm starting a new segment for spin-off for my Women Crush Wednesday. This is Man Crush Monday, and he is my first guest. Thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here.
Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, it's my baby brother too. First, I want you to elaborate on your story. Just tell us your story. What got you to here?
Just a real brief description of what got me here was I've been on both sides of the law. I've been the police and I've also been the inmate. Most recently, I was the inmate. In 2014, I was released from Long State Prison. Coming out of prison, I had a lot of struggles trying to find gainful employment to support myself and my family. So for at least a year, I was kind of struggling, looking for jobs, going to jobs that wasn't paying much, that wasn't any security, that was just basically something to do. You know, you work, you get paid the same day type jobs. But in the midst of working jobs like that, I started to think of how I could give back and help others. So I came up with the idea of having a temp service that would help inmates once they come out of incarceration. I didn't have the capital to go ahead and automatically start the staffing service, so I was praying and asking and praying and asking, and God finally told me that ain't all you can do to give back. So with that, I started thinking of how can I give back without the funds that I need. So my wife started talking to me and we came up with Mission 180. And Mission 180 is a charity group that's basically for giving second chances, not only to the incarcerated, but to the addicts, to the homeless, to the people that society have deemed to be useless in society because of their background. So that's how I started to climb back up and find my footing.
So Mission 180, what your inspiration was being incarcerated and coming out of the prison system, you couldn't find employment. What do you want people to know about people like yourself coming out of the prison system?
First thing, the most important thing, is that everyone that come out of the prison system is not bad. Regardless of me being your brother, you know my track record personally. So I didn't have a bad track record before I became incarcerated. Once they release me, it's my opportunity to get back into society in a productive manner. And society do not give you that opportunity. They close those. So the most important thing that I want people to know is that just because I've been incarcerated, that don't change who I am as a person. It actually made me a better person than what I was before I went in. So just because somebody have a blemish, that don't mean that they're all bad or they don't have no business or they gonna steal from you or they gonna rob you. You can't look at what's on the paper and tell what's on the inside of a person's heart. Society don't give them an opportunity to have a meaningful, gainful employment.
Okay. Now, I know that you spent a couple of years being your sister down at Long State Prison. And I know that a prison sentence can be something that can break you. But it seems to have made you into a different person. What kind of lessons did you learn from being down at Long State?
Going into Long State, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I mean, my first night there, I was in tears. I was crying because, because of the horror stories that I hear about the prison system and the things that I had in my head that I thought I would have to go through. But once I prayed and honestly left it in God's hand, it became a lot easier. So once I got to Long State Prison, it was like favor was all upon me. I was able to just walk to the door, and the guard would automatically open the door without me asking. I would go to the I was eating free world food versus the food that they serve in the cafeteria. I was able to go outside the gate and serve on a community detail while I'm interacting with other people without officer supervision over me 24/7. So a lot of favor was shown upon me while I was there, but I gotta be honest, that's like the time that I felt the closest to the Lord, because I continuously prayed. I went to every church service they had. I don't care if it was Jehovah's Witness, I didn't care if it was the Baptist, I didn't care if it was the Muslims. If I felt the need to get close to God, I went and worshiped. And then the lesson that I took from prison is real simple. You know, nobody's immune to fall short of their mistakes. So just because you fall short don't mean that you have to stay in that position. You have a choice once you come home. You have options once you come home. And that's what kind of prison did to me. It made me a go-getter. Mm-hmm. You know, I wasn't coming out here and I wasn't going to sell drugs. I wasn't going to make my mom and dad not proud of me. I was going to come out here and show them that I made a mistake, but I'm going to bounce back from the things that I've done wrong. And I'm going to show y'all who I truly am and, you know, build myself back up and show y'all I'm the man that y'all raised me to be.
I know you got a lot of chances and a lot of favor shown on you when you were in prison, but that was because of your character. That was because of your character before you went in. What about somebody who doesn't have that kind of character? And is there hope for them when they come out?
For somebody who's more of a troublemaker than I am, I would simply say it has to be their decision. You have to honestly get tired. You got to get tired of being in prison. You got to get tired of being in bad situations. You got to get tired of hurting your loved ones. You got to get tired of seeing your kids coming to this glass window to visit you. If you're not tired, then you're honestly wasting your time to come talk to someone that's trying to help you, and you're wasting my time if you ain't at that breaking point. And usually it's easy to tell when you at that breaking point, because when you at that breaking point, it's like, you know, I ain't got nothing else to lose. I ain't gonna continue to fall back into this system. I'm not gonna be part of this revolving door that leading me in and out of this system. I'm gonna get to the point in my life where I have a strong foundation on the outside with my freedom, and honestly plant my feet and do what I have to do to take care of me out here versus allowing the system to take care of me in there.
Talk to me about Mission 180. What are your future plans? How do you plan on implementing those plans coming up in 2017 and beyond?
All right, Mission 180. Our goal is real simple, and that is to serve. So with that being said, that's our plan for 2017. We're going to serve. We're going to do fundraisers. We're going to do things to try to raise money so we can honestly get 180 staffing up and running. And once we get 180 staffing up and running, we're going to try to get meaningful employers to take on some felons. I want to get to the point in 2017 where we're going inside of the juvenile system, being able to reach out to the younger brothers and start a Big Brother program, me and a couple of other people that have been incarcerated, and take them under our wings and kind of show them the ropes from being in the streets, being of the streets, mm-hmm. and being, you know, more grounded into becoming your own youth. So 2017, we want to step up and have a Big Brothers program. We want to give back to our community. We just want to serve and love on people that, you know, been in situations and looking for a change.
So about Mission 180, what would be your vetting process? When I ask that, what would you use, what criteria would you use to weed out somebody who just wants to start trouble as opposed to somebody who really wants to change?
The vetting process would be similar to what the state already have implemented, which is a reentry program. But the state reentry program is more so one size fit all. What we are striving to do is hire pastors, counselors, psychiatrists, people that can really get inside the minds of those that are coming to Mission 180 for help. And what we will basically do is put together a program that's catered to the individual versus a one-size-fit-all program. Whereas I spent 2.5 years inside of prison, it wouldn't take me as long to adapt back into society than somebody who been in prison for 10 years. Today's technology wouldn't be compatible to what you know. Mm-hmm. So we would have a ground zero level where we would have to work a little longer and harder with the individual, and then we would have an advanced level where you've already been exposed to some of the technologies and just need a little tweaking. And during this process, we're going to evaluate the individual, and as we evaluate the individual, it shows their seriousness, it shows their character. That's one of the processes that we're going to use, and it's going to be a reentry program, whereas we just sit back and observe the individual before we try to do any job placement or anything of that nature. I mean, some people would be able to come out and go into a work environment and adapt well. Some people will come out and still have a closed mind to society because of what they've already been exposed to inside of the prison system. You would have to slowly tune those type of individuals back into society. So they may get some jobs where they would, basically be working alone, maybe doing some construction stuff, cleaning up or something of that nature. But eventually we want to work everybody back up to a point where they can have a meaningful job where they can be proud of and feel as if they are a part of society again.
Will you have an education component for people who maybe need their GED?
Actually, we have already kind of talked to Atlanta Tech a little about allowing felons to come in. Yes, we're going to be helping people get enrolled in school. We're going to help people get trades. We're going to help people if they desire to go back to school to become architect. We want to be part of that, allowing that dream to come true for them. So whatever we can do on Mission 180 side to help any individual, we will. It's going to be a little tougher for some individuals because they have regulations against, say, drug dealers. They don't want to give drug dealers no money. They don't want to give them an opportunity. So our mission would be a little harder with them, but we're not going to turn them away because of a hard mission. We just got to buckle down and work harder to make sure that their dream is coming true just as well as the petty theft individual.
Well, I am proud of your accomplishments, and I'm waiting for Mission 180 to take off the ground. One last question. Your personal life changed for the better, too. You want to elaborate on that?
Yes. I came home from prison, and I thank God for this moment that I had with my wife. My wife sat me down, and she said, either you're going to be here or you're going to leave me alone. And at that point, I thought about the promise that I made to God, that if he was to allow me to come home and be with my family with nobody missing in my family, nobody died while I was incarcerated, that I would be a better man than I was when I went in. And by her stepping up and saying that, it honestly made me feel that I need to see what this was about. And we've now married. We're no longer boyfriend and girlfriend. I now have my first child, but I also have 2 more stepchildren that I don't refer to as my stepchildren. They're my children from my wife before me and her got serious. And I'm happy. I'm happy. I've came home. I didn't have a pot to piss in. I wanted to throw it out, but now I have my place. I have 2 vehicles. I have my children. I have my wife. We're not struggling. We're not asking nobody for nothing. I have a great job. I want to thank my boss, Mr. Freeman, for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the job that I work in. Since I've been there, I've advanced. I started off on a polisher, then I went to a truck driver. Now I'm being trained as a assistant supervisor, stepping in when the supervisor is out. So they are really taking me under their wing, teaching me a lot, and helping me grow daily.
Aww. Y'all see why I love this little boy? Anyway, thank you for being on my show. I
No
love
problem. Love you too.